Hey guys, Scare9 here, welcome back to my channel today, and in this video I want to talk about the Cerberus +1 catalyst and what it means for Destiny, because usually I cover these catalysts and they're pretty cool and some of them are difficult to get and I like to give you guys guides and that sort of thing, except this one's a little bit different. It's very straightforward to get, the challenge isn't that hard, it's pretty easy to unlock, but I think it says a lot about the future of catalysts and where they are heading in year 3 of Destiny 2. Now just before we jump into it, remember you can pre-order my brand new pin. I actually just got the shipping notification, so in like 2 or 3 days I should have physical versions to show you guys. I also tweaked with the shipping a little bit, so if shipping was holding you back, I got most of those costs cut as much as in like half. So go check them out. They're $10 each. If you have an interest in them, the link will be down in the description below. I highly recommend that you guys go do that because there is only a limited quantity and I am only selling them for this season. So make sure you jump on them and do not wait. But the Cerberus +1 catalyst is, like I said, pretty unique. So what this thing does is it makes it so you can hold the reload button and get an alternate fire mode for the Cerberus +1. Just the base Cerberus +1 has a pretty medium to long range widespread shot that can be hard to control but can be quite powerful. This alternate fire mode makes it so you have a more compressed shot, but it is shorter range. So you're essentially shooting like a very short range shotgun. It also shoots a lot slower. It's very powerful. You can see me here in Vex Offensive just kind of wrecking general ads and majors and that sort of stuff with it. It's very powerful. It's definitely an upgrade on the Cerberus. I think it gives it more utility. You can use it in more ranges. I haven't used it in Crucible, but I heard it is not that good, but we'll take that with a grain of salt because like I said, I have not used it myself in the Crucible. But I think it's very interesting that it adds a whole nother level to the Cerberus, essentially putting 2 guns in one, right? So you have a medium to long range and a short range that deals out a ton of damage, and you can switch on the fly. You don't have to go into your inventory or anything like that. You can literally just hold your reload button and it's very quick. I think this is very good going forward with catalysts. A lot of catalysts, in my opinion, are quite boring. For instance, I think the Risk Runner one just adds range and that's it, like plus 40 range maybe, isn't a great catalyst. That doesn't add a lot of utility to the weapon. It doesn't offer anything that the gun doesn't already have itself. Whereas you have other catalysts like the Huckleberry catalyst that makes it so every time you get a kill, it automatically reloads your entire magazine. That is obviously going to be a lot more useful and a lot more potent in the gameplay itself, rather than, ones like, the Sweet Business, which just reduces flinch and it's barely even noticeable. So I think as we go forward in Destiny and as more and more catalysts have been unveiled to us, they've actually been getting more and more interesting. And I think that the Cerberus catalyst is a perfect example of this, where Bungie is getting more creative and taking a little bit more liberty with the exotic catalysts, really utilizing them to make boring guns or underwhelming guns more potent and more relevant in the current meta. And I think that is so freaking cool because it could be a kind of way to balance weapons, add cool other aspects to boring exotics. So think about things like the Cerberus. It doesn't really have an exotic perk, right? Like it's kind of quirky. It shoots the 3 or 4 bullets at once type of thing. But other than that, it doesn't have anything like super important about it that makes it a good exotic. The same thing about the Sweet Business, right? Like, it doesn't really have, it's a Gatling gun, sure, but it doesn't really have a super beneficial exotic perk. Nothing that's like, the 1000 Voices is obviously like super unique. The Anarchy, super unique. You have things like the Teraba, a very unique situation that a lot of other exotics, especially that were released during the first year of Destiny 2, don't really have. A lot of those are just kind of plain. And so, unfortunately, a lot of those weapons already have their catalysts, but what they can do is utilize this new catalyst system to take sort of bland or vanilla exotics that we have in the game right now that don't currently have exotic catalysts and use the catalyst system to make them more interesting. And I think the Teraba is actually a really good example of this. I know I just said it is very unique, and it does have a very unique perk where you can kind of get kill clip or rampage kind of on a whim, right? Like you have to activate it yourself, but it is kind of underwhelming compared to things like the Huckleberry or the Recluse. So maybe its exotic catalyst that whenever we get it will help make it more relevant and make it worth that exotic slot and, make people want to use it over something like the Recluse. I think that would be very interesting. There's a ton of exotics like this. I mean, think about even like the Divinity, right? Super powerful in its own right, but if you are using it in a solo game, I don't think it really has quite the draw that, obviously in the raids, it has a really important aspect to it, whereas it is the only buff that can stack on top of other buffs. So using it, you can obviously access damage that you couldn't otherwise access as a team. However, when you were using it solo, it isn't quite as important to have in your loadout because it's really just not as effective solo. So maybe the Catalyst can kind of round out its gameplay a little bit and make it a little bit more like Cold Heart or something like that, making it just a little bit more potent as a weapon that you want to use when you're not part of a team and not in endgame activities and things like that. I think that is super important and just could be a really great way for Bungie to round out the exotic balance in the game, right? Like, obviously, you don't want every exotic to be good in every situation, but there shouldn't only be one good exotic for certain situations. And I think that the Catalyst system could be a very, very cool way of rounding out each exotic's playstyle, helping fill the sandbox a little bit more, making it a little bit even throughout. And hopefully we don't get any like the Might of Multi-Tool Catalyst Outlaw that are essentially useless, right? Like, I think the Cerberus one is a great step in the right direction, whereas we're adding more kind of quirky traits to each gun, but that really round out its playstyle and help make it more relevant in the game as a whole. So I really just wanted to upload a video talking about that. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been thinking the same thing, but if not, it's a cool idea, right? It's very nice to see exotic catalysts that are doing very interesting things. The Ace of Spades catalyst is another great example of this, where it kind of gives it more utility and kind of just makes it more powerful in general, and I think that is very, very cool. So let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why or why not? Let me know down in the comment section. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating and to share it with your friends. If you're interested in watching either of the two videos on screen, you can click at their respective annotations to be taken to them. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure to the giant version of my logo on screen to be subscribed to more awesome Destiny 2 videos and live streams. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I'll see you in my next video.